Hello everyone, welcome once again to Investing with a Difference. So we are continuing our BP focus series, and today we have got Aloha EOS with us. And as you know, I think Aloha EOS has been around, and we have been seeing a lot of it on our channel. As you know, that we are using their tools, especially the proxy research tool, and most of you are looking at us and any other proxies to vote for on Aloha, and that's how I think many of you must know it from our channel itself. But beyond that, I think they have been one of the block producers who have done a lot of work recently in the EOS community. They started it as I think Hawaii block producer candidate, which is like bridging the East and West. That was the philosophy. We're going to talk more about this. And also they actually did a lot of good work in terms of giving back. We talked about the charitable fund they were contributing to. When there was this volcanic activity in Hawaii, we remember it, the early days of EOS, and I think that's one of the things which is very important for, for block producers to look at the communities where they are belonging to and contributing. Coming back to their tools, I think this is one of the biggest contribution I would like to highlight, because as a proxy, we have used their tools all the time. We are doing a lot of research on their tools about the block producers, their whether they're compliant. They started with that information. Then they also provided us tool to register proxies and share information with you. And also one of the big things is EOS Mechanics. I think we talked about that with Greymas. Aloha is part of the EOS Mechanics project as partners, and they have done a lot of great service to EOS community by helping us understand the performance and how to improve that. So they have been on our voting list for some time now. So without wasting any more time, let us bring them on and say hi to the team. Hi, guys.
Hey. How you doing?
Welcome to the show. So Nate, Joe, and Patrick, do you want to start with how you guys came around setting up this BP candidacy, and how is it feeling after 3 months of this mainnet launch?
Yeah. You want to go ahead, Nate? Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and jump in here. Might feel awkward with all three of us at the same time, but I'll give it a shot. First of all, I think we're super excited to be on your interview here. So thank you, first of all. I think the general consensus between the three of us is that we're pretty excited about the state of things right now. We launched along with everybody else back in early June, and we have been really working hard to promote ourselves and some of the tools that we've come up with, and I think we're starting to get a lot of attention now that we were hoping we'd start seeing. So we're excited about this forward momentum, and we're excited about the platform in general.
No, I think that's great to hear. I think all of us are really seeing the progress, and we are, as you know, that is the kind of records we started tracking originally. I think now it's become usual. Like we're not even worried about how many transactions we are doing. We are beyond the days of block Twitter, and now we're seeing real games and new applications launching every day. So yeah, that's exciting. So what do you think, like from as a block producer candidate and being a backup block producer, where do you see this progressing now? Like what are you excited about beyond of course all these gambling apps and whatnot?
I mean, personally, I'm really excited about any big DApp that comes along. I think the stuff that was just announced in London was pretty awesome. We just saw Chintai launch a couple days ago, which is pretty cool. I think that's probably the biggest DApp yet on the network. So yeah, we're very interested in doing whatever we can to help them come on board, and then in general any DApp. So it's pretty cool to see this stuff come.
Oh, that's great. I think, yes, we are waiting for some more of these cool apps, and I think London was exciting. So did you also attend the blockchain live, or did you see any other cool stuff? I think Dan was showing around his wallet. I hear from in London.
Yeah, I heard a couple people saw it. I didn't get much more than that. I think it's still kind of hush hush. So it'll be great to finally hear an announcement about that.
Sure. No, I think what we are hearing is that it is kind of blocked at Apple because it's a iOS app. But I think, yeah, I hear you. I think it was a lot of excitement there. So coming back to EOS Aloha, I think you guys have done recently. We saw you doing a lot of work on performance of the network. So while we are all celebrating so many transactions and whatnot, but we are still seeing that you guys are working very actively on looking at how to improve. So how is this EOS mechanics came around? And what is your vision on that in near future?
Yeah, I can take a stab at it. So I mean, I think the overall goal for it is to see the improvement of the EOS network, and we, along with the EOS Titan and Team Graymass, came up with a tool that calculates a specific kind of prime number, and that's just sort of a good CPU stress test. And with that stress test, we were able to start capturing essentially the metrics from all the current block producers, the top 21, and then we were of course able to help them identify areas that they could see improvement. And we shouldn't claim responsibility for helping them find the areas of improvement, simply just helping them point out that they may need to do some improvement. And I think the resulting discussions that we've seen come from that have been pretty interesting. BPs helping other BPs. So I think that's been a nice positive outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think that is what we got very excited about, because originally I thought as a proxy we were all being asked whether these kind of objective metrics is something you should use, but I think what we figured out these should not be the metrics, and I think I saw some of the posts also from you guys together as the EOS Mechanics team that why this is not a great idea. And what I'm excited about is that now BPs are talking to each other, helping each other once these tools came around on how to really improve. So do you see this engagement improving the collaboration between BPs itself?
Yeah, for sure.
Seems like, yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah. To note about that, I mean, we have been saying that, and in fact, Graymass has a great post about, how it shouldn't be used as a voting metric. Because as soon as it gets used as a voting metric, then it can really start to be gamed, because this data is coming from the block producers, and this is everyone's kind of running their own builds, and it is possible to game it. So more the goal was kind of improving the network as a whole and getting everybody kind of on the same trend line. Finding the optimal baseline, and then making sure everybody's kind of around that, and there's not any major outliers, because if you've got one block producer who's executing things 3 times higher or longer than other block producers, that means they're also charging 3 times more to the token holder when they're running their dApps or doing token transfers or whatever it is. So the goal really was to get everybody on the same baseline, and we've seen a lot of improvement there. So it's really cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's amazing. I think I remember, I think many of you, even you, Titan, and also even Graymass was not always in top 21, and to be able to contribute and to able to bring this change in actual network performance, I think it's a great deal, and we all appreciate you for that. So, but beyond the CPU performance, are you guys also working on any other metrics or any other areas in near future? Or this is something which was a low-hanging fruit and you guys achieved it? So what are the discussion around now for taking this network even further in terms of performance?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely other kind of benchmarks that can be created, and we've been kind of discussing and playing with a few other options, such as RAM and API response time and things like that. These are all things that matter a lot for dApp performance. And we're also planning on publishing more articles about optimal things that block producers can do to their servers to help with performance and kind of help get people to those same baselines. as well as just kind of promoting discussion within the block producer community about, how to drive performance and keep things as fast as possible.
No, I think that's great to hear. I think these are the kind of things which makes it really good community. I think this is where I think we don't see people always talk about this competition or this politics around voting, and I think this is refreshing to hear that this kind of collaboration between BPs to continuously work towards improvement of the network. So how does this came about? So I would be interesting to it will be interesting to know that you three block producers. Candidates who are not really not from the same area. How did you come together and started working on this project?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of came about because us three, we kept talking about it a lot in Telegram, in public channels, and originally kind of after we had some public conversations about it, Titan approached us with the idea. And we thought it was a great idea, and we kind of started discussing it and running some ideas, and NEX from Greymass had also been part of public discussions about that. So we kind of started asking him questions, and it kind of just snowballed from there. And yeah, so we all participated quite a bit in kind of getting it out there. But yeah, we're totally open to other input from other block producers.
No, that's wonderful. I think this is really refreshing. I think more I learn about it, I realize that how mature this community is and how people are really working together. So I think coming back to your portal now, I think this is what got me actually even. I was not even focusing on you as a block producer candidate till I heard about your block proxy listings and research portals. So
awesome.
we didn't even know, right? Means where did this came about? Proxies, for me, as I keep telling people, I was not even aware of proxies when. For me also it was very organic, where people watching my channel started saying, oh, I don't know how to vote and how to research, why don't you set up a proxy? And that's how I started researching about proxy. And then we set up, and I didn't know that it will become such a big job for me to track this block producers. But it was just it just happened, and I think your tool was one of the very, very important starting point for me to start looking at information about block producers. So how did this idea came about, and what is how did you get to this level where you became the single source of information for this?
First up, thanks. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
It kind of came about. I've been a fan of the BitShares and that world for quite a while, and I'm well aware of proxies over there and how they work. And after EOS launch, I actually didn't originally know that it launched with proxy support, but then pretty quickly realized it, just looking through the table structures and things like that. And at the time, I mean, this was just shortly after mainnet launch, we kind of realized that there was no way to browse this information. We didn't know who was a proxy and things like that. And so we kind of built kind of a really basic portal to start to just surface that information and show kind of which accounts were proxies and how much EOS they had behind them. But we discovered pretty early on that was missing a whole lot of information. You could see a list of proxies, but there was nothing else about them. You couldn't find out their voting philosophy or get a website or anything like that. And so we started working on developing a DApp that kind of let proxies register that information on chain, and that way that we could display it in our portal, and other portals and wallets and things could use that information as well, because it's all on chain. And that way a proxy can advertise all those things, like their voting philosophy, their background, their website. And so that's kind of how it came about. And I think at this point, it is kind of turned into the standard, like our little DAP for registering proxy info, which is great, because anybody can use it. Anybody can submit pull requests if they want to, add additional fields or anything like that. And it's integrated in pretty much all the wallets and a lot of the portals at this point, and so it's great to see at this point.
I think that's great, because I would say that many people have come, like, to be frank, for me, it was very difficult to understand initially the impact of proxy, because I knew that people would need help, but I was still assuming that people would ultimately learn voting. What I'm seeing is for example, if we see within Investing with the Difference, the number of people who are voting with us now is like in thousands, like 1,200 last I saw. And they keep coming back and tell us that how important it is, that there is a proxy where they don't have time to research. And then I'm seeing a lot of new articles being published recently about how important the proxies will become in this depot structure, because and now we are seeing like discussions around proxies, discussions around how the proxies can be used for exchanges, how proxies can be used for, and you talked about Chintai at the start. I think just today we are debating about now Chintai is also a custodian and they would need a proxy to vote with those tokens. So I think the proxy itself is becoming the most important concept in this EOS depots. And it is a great tool, I think, for researching, for understanding what's going on, because it's almost impossible for an average token holder to navigate through the chain and figure out what are the options. So I would congratulate you for this great tool. I think this is one of the biggest contribution for improving the voting. And as I say, right, means because if you look at just Investing with the Difference, we have 1,200 voters, and the total number of voters today, even after all the progress, is hardly like 32 or 33,000. So it's a huge percentage of voters who are able to research proxy and vote with these proxies. And even if I include all the other registered proxies, I'm sure there must be at least 2,000 to 3,000 people voting through proxies. So I would say it's one of the most important thing, and we really thank you for this effort. So where do you see it going from here? Like, what all things, because you are so involved in this setting up the proxies, I'm sure you're getting a lot of feedback from people on what else is needed. So do you have a vision for these tools of researching block producers, or for providing information about proxies? Or do you have any views on how it is being used today?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't got a whole lot of ideas on the proxy side. From what we've heard, people are very happy with it. So I'm not sure on that one, but I think in general that we are seeing more and more proxy popularity, and I do think that is great for the network. I think it can promote more informed voting. I mean, I'm sure you know how time-consuming it can be to research all the block producer candidates, and so I think it's a great thing, and we're very open to feedback around that. In general, we haven't heard anything as far as improvements that should be needed, but I don't know, you guys have heard anything else?
Not too much. It's mostly just people saying they like it and they appreciate it, and there hasn't really been too many suggestions.
That's a great sign, because I think it is already such a complete feature. I was more looking for, like, where do you think this heading? Like, do you think that people will be able to scale to let's say there are hundreds of more proxies? Where do you see this kind of a tool progressing? Do you see at some point you need to maybe bring out what is the difference between these proxies, creating some more information, and maybe just creating more discussions around proxies, creating ideological debates? I mean, I'm just throwing ideas at it. Being a proxy, I think that whether this can become kind of a better ground for people to figure out what is the right approach, because we need to. I think the democracy is as strong as the participation, and this is a great tool you have started with. So I would say that it would be great ideas, which means I would like to bring out as a proxy, because as I keep saying, telling people, my goal is not to become a proxy whale and to have the maximum number of people voting with us. It's about bringing different ideas and different ways of voting to get more and more diverse block producers in.
Yeah, I think like Nate said, we're welcome to any of these ideas. If there's more fields that need to be added, people can do pull requests. They can join our Telegram, and we would be glad to discuss about some possible future improvements to it. So we are all ears when it comes to that.
Sure. No, I think we have seen that. We have seen a lot of improvements all the time into the tools you have developed. So great. Like it's already, we are seeing that progress. So, okay, let's shift gears and let's talk about what other things you're excited about. So do you want to say that, are you working on any of the projects which we haven't seen yet or which are not published? You want to talk about, or what is the future looks like for Aloha EOS? Like I see in your website, you talk about that you want to do some dApps in the future. So do you want to talk about any such stuff you're already working on, or you would like to highlight?
Well, there we're all sort of shocked. There's something that I'm working on, or that it's been on my plate that I've been trying to move forward, and I almost feel like it's probably not right for me to launch it yet on here, unfortunately. But we do have an idea. I guess the general idea around it would be promotion of EOS, or maybe uplifting the knowledge around the EOS platform in general for the common person that might just be looking at it. So we're trying to think of new and inventive ways to educate that kind of a person that might be new to EOS. And so stay tuned on that one. Sorry for the, I know it's sort of a tease, but it's not exactly a dApp that we're looking at for that. It's something that'll be fun, but a little bit different, is maybe the way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think that's great to hear. I think I see a lot of people trying to bring more adoption, and what better way than to educate people. And for the same reason, I think we are doing this EOS conference after the San Francisco Hackathon on November 12th. And we just discussed, and I'm glad that you guys are coming. And I'm very excited about getting more and more EOS community together. And our goal is again the same. So all the viewers, I think if you are in San Francisco for EOS Hackathon, or if you are in around the area anyway, even if you're not attending Hackathon, please come and join us, because we are getting a lot of participation, including EOS Aloha, and we are going to get very interesting topics to discuss. So what would you like to say in the end? So I think let's talk about what your message is for EOS community. We see a lot of debate around the concerns about, of course, the DPoS system, about voting, but as we can see that it's still going strong. So would you like to say something as a team, as a block producer candidate, what we should look out for in future, and where you see EOS heading?
You guys have something there?
I think, Nate, you want to take it?
I mean, as far as where EOS is heading, I mean, I think kind of the sky is the limit. I mean, it's really hard to predict that. I think as block producers, our goal is to make it just work as well and as fast as possible, promote it as much as we can. Work on education, getting it out to the public and getting the word out. That's our goal, and that's our mission. We write these tools and we do these things to help token holders and kind of help get our name out and just get the EOS name out in general and improve performance. And so we're kind of just like focused on that infrastructure component, right? And so the dApps will come. Like one of the I think the Stark proxy that came up recently, they have an image that's takes from the Game of Thrones, and it says dApps are coming.
Yes, I think very, very exciting. They have become one of the biggest registered proxy at least, and it's exciting to see all these things coming up, and we can immediately see it on your portal. But I think dApps are coming, and we are all excited about it. hopefully in next 6 months, we should start seeing a lot more serious apps and much more capable apps, because I think it's still early days. I keep getting flack for talking about dice apps and gambling apps on my channel, because I see a lot of comments from people, why am I promoting it? And I say that this is fun while we are waiting for all the serious apps. There's no harm, and this is actually using the network.
Yeah, it's great.
It's having camera issues.
Great. I mean, it's a lot better. Oh, sorry. I was going to say it's a lot better test than the block Twitter spam. A lot more real world. So we'll take that any day over block Twitter.
No, I think, yes, we really love it, because to be frank, as I said, it's a personal choice of what people do with their money, if they gamble or something. I think it's more about getting the feeling of having these kind of blockchain activities happening in real time, where you get the results immediately. I think if anybody who is there in the blockchain world for more than 1 year or 2 years, I think people have good experience of waiting for 10 to 20 minutes or sometimes hours for a transaction to go through. And I just can't get over it. Means every time I play these games or anything, it's having a blockchain confirmation within like half a second, and getting that immediate confirmation is amazing.
Yeah, I agree. It really showcases the strengths of the network, and it's great to see. As does the games and the dexes, and I think it's all great stuff.
All right, so I think so we are actually running out of time. So I think thanks a lot for coming on the show. And any last words? Please feel free to say. Thanks a lot for all the tools, all the great work you're doing to improve the network. And I hope that you guys will keep doing that, and hope to see you guys in San Francisco.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah, we'll all be there. We're looking forward to it.
Definitely. And thanks for having us on. We really appreciate your time.
Well, thank you for showing up with the show, and thanks a lot. We'll look forward to interact more in the conference. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye-bye.